And we have from CAF, we have Mr. Lux September and Ms. Jessica Mutaum also from CAF. And then we have Coach Pitso mosemane. You are all welcome, and thanks, Mr. Toko.
Thank you, CEO. Mr. President.
Important milestone in the history of South African football. What we have here and why we are gathered here is to recognize the final qualification of the CAF Pro license. And the candidates were looked at not just in terms of the coaching but also their achievement. If you look at the others who will receive the CAF Pro license, you will see all of them either won the CAF Champions League, they've won the Confederations Cup and other major competitions of CAF. And these are the coaches and have been working over the last 3 years. What we are going to hand over to Coach Pitso mosemane this morning is the CAF Pro license, which is equivalent, the same as the UEFA A license. And the A license, the Pro license, means that this coach is now qualified to coach any team anywhere in the world. So he stands as the first South African to be counted amongst such coaches that is now graduated, certificated, and recognized throughout the world. That, well, he has already been coaching outside the country and winning major medals with club outside South Africa. But this is just to confirm that his contribution, his coaching ability is recognized not only on the continent but throughout the world. But what is also important for me, just about 2 weeks ago, we talked about school sport. And of course we agreed that one of the things that we must do is to strengthen school sport in this country as a foundation to eventually transform Bafana into a very competitive team, to be one amongst the best on the continent. Next week, Monday, in Kabeja or PE, we've invited everyone from our 52 regions who is in charge of school sport in our 52 regions to go there, because FIFA is running a specialist focus training for those who run school sport. And when I was talking to him about this important matter of school sport, I was quite encouraged of the initiatives that he has taken in this regard. So you are, and we are happy that we're handing over a recognition and certificate of a pro licensed coach who is not looking only at the top, at the Champions League and the AFCON, but at grassroots, where the players come from. And if we can fix those things in the long term, South African football will be in a far better shape. So for us, it's a very important day. We want to congratulate Coach Pitso mosemane. I'm happy also here we have Jessica Mutaum, who's on the Women's Committee of CAF, and there on the corner we have Lux September, who is the head of communications in CAF. And when we talked about the certificate, we had agreed there in Morocco that we can't just send the certificate to Coach Pitso, that we actually have to call a press conference and place it in its context so that it can motivate and encourage other coaches to pursue excellence, both in its qualification but also in implementation. So I'm happy that last September has traveled all the way from Cairo, is with us today, and we also welcome Imo but also thanks for his contribution in this regard. Morocco hosted the final of the end of the process of qualification. I also want to thank the Moroccan Federation and Fawzi, the president. Of course, you know that Morocco hosted the last Champions League, Wydad and Al Ahly. I was there. I can't remember the score anymore, but they have just been wonderful. They hosted the Women's AFCON, and they've continued to support African football. So we want to thank them. But thank Pitso for walking this path until the end, however difficult it must be. But today is a day of celebration and recognition for your contribution to not just South African football, but African football and world football. Thank you very much.
Now I'd like to hand over to the man of the hour, Mr. Pitso.
Morning, everybody. Not familiar with our latest technology. Morning, everybody. First, President of the Federation, humble words, humbling me, of course. The members of the executive committee were here, members of CAF were here, of course the CEO made it possible, and you also members of the media. I'm humbled, obviously, and a little bit emotional about this because first is because I'm recognized by a federation, and that's very, very important. Because we did the course for the last 3 years, it didn't end. COVID also came inside, and as the president has just said that for me to be part of that program is, you don't apply to be in that program. You are invited. So they invited the East African coach who was coaching for DRC and Vita, which is top guy now, he's in Milan. A good friend of mine, Florent Ibenge, and they invited on the west of Africa. They invited Ali Cisse, he just won the AFCON, and to SADC or maybe South. I was lucky to be invited to be part of all that delegation, so that the whole Africa is recognized. Of course, well done by the Moroccan Federation through CAF and FIFA, and we had all the instructors from FIFA who were helping us to deliver this, because it's the first one, obviously, ever in the continent, and to be part of that learning team in that group, you learn a lot, you make friends, you understand Africa as a whole. And you're sitting with the people who have won everything. Oh, I forgot the legendary coach Shahata, you know him. His last game was when I played against him when I was a SAFA from Egypt, the legendary one who won all the trophies in AFCON. So he was part of that also. So really to be part of that, and as I'm listening to the president was speaking about the people who were there are the winners of, if you make your research, you see the class that we are on, the last 7 years, maybe 6 years of inter-club competitions. The guys that I've lost finals to them, I've lost semi-finals to them, and really amazing people who have won Champions League, was won the Confederation Cup, have won the CHAN, have won everything. But above that is for me to learn what's happening in Africa and to swim with the sharks, I've seen the preparation of the Morocco Federation, the Women Federation, when they prepared for Banyana. I've seen everything they're doing because we were all in the same place. I've seen the training program of Morocco when they played Bafana because I was there and I was watching everything. When we lost to them in the qualifiers of AFCON, but we will qualify because I was there when I watched also Liberia, so I know we will qualify. We will go to the AFCON. Don't stress about it. Yes, we will. No, I'm not saying it because I'm sitting here with the panel, but we will because it's a fact. I've seen Liberia play. I've seen how Bafana played against Morocco. We might look at the results, but I think the boys really gave account of themselves in that game. Okay, sometimes we look at the results only. But yeah, above that is for me to be inside the Morocco Federation and know everything that they do and learn why are they so dominant and what makes that, you know. I even interacted with Fauzi, who's the right-hand man of the president of CAF, and his coach, Florent Ibenge, of course. So this for me is an honor to be brought here at home and to this house. Yes, I've had a lot of history with the federations, and for me is to share the positives only. And one of the positives is that probably you guys forgot is that the federation took me to school for 6 weeks to learn football in Germany with the DFB, and that was my foundation phase. And I'm humbled about that, thanks for that, because sometimes we don't mention about things like this. I was schooled here, and one of the methodologies I'm using for my school sports, I received it from the German Football Federation through the program that SAFA took me to. So it's a give back with the school sport. We will talk about the school sport when we have time. Of course, I had to get the blessings and also understand the structure of how SAFA works with the schools, because I'm only a technician. I'm not anything else. I'm the man on the pitch. So what I do with school sport, I go on the pitch to train the coaches to train the children the proper way and the right way. So to make sure that they don't do anything that they want, because it's very, very important to get the fundamentals of how things are. Because sometimes we forget how Senegal is, how Cote d'Ivoire and all Cameroon. We're thinking all those players are in Cameroon and in Senegal and playing against Bafana. No one is there. They're all in Europe, and they've been there for many years and been through and some are born there. They've gone through the processes of doing football the right way, and I think the best place for me is to go to the schools. I remember when my Pitso and Mazola here before, when I was still hustling for my contract with my employees here. When I was in South Africa, he says, no, Pitso wants to have an academy. I said, no, I don't want an academy, I want the school sports. So we come from there, from far, like that, Mazola. So it's not something that I want to do now, or I thought I must do now. So it has been there, and I fought for it to win that contract. So we are here now, and I got the blessings from the president to say, how can we improve football in the schools? Because children are in the schools, and the teams can only have 20 players. But what happens to the whole country? So the country is in the schools, children in the schools, they play football in the schools. So we can't miss them. So that's where we are going, and that's mass participation, to be honest. That's where we're going, and if we get them right in the schools, it would be nice. I had good meetings with the MUC for education, Mr. Panyola. So I'm just knocking on the right doors and trying to make sure that am I in the right space, am I in the right path, and also get some blessings. So we will talk about it with Mr. Panyola when time comes. So we are in the schools, and we haven't launched because I'm busy with the manuals. It's very, very important. So just in a nutshell, that's what we are doing, and I got the blessings from the Federation to go into the schools. And thanks everybody, thanks teachers, Lars, for Steve Kate, and also maybe I should mention the Morocco Federation, President Fauzi is been good to me also. Okay, we had our own issues because you know me, at some stages I like to get my space, and when I feel like my light is being dimmed, I like to make it sure that it lights again. So, but in a positive way, the president of the Federation, Mr. Fauzi, who is also the president of Berkan, if you don't know, the team that beat Paris in the Confederation Cup. So, it's good to be in those spaces, and by the way, I'm a South African, and this is all. Thank you.
Madam Chiklas will wrap things up for us and close, but before that, I would like to welcome and also welcome Ms. Daum and Mr. Lux September, just to say a few words.
Thank you very much. It certainly is an honor and a privilege to be here. And President, thank you for really facilitating this and ensuring that our football is going to the next level. And congratulations to the coach for the hard work. We're very proud of you, and I say this from a CAF point of view, but also from a South African point of view. And President, I think it's important recognizing the fact that the foundation has to start from the ground up, and the work that you have done in making sure that our coaches are educated is very important, and to see it going to this level is very encouraging. Just very proud of the work that Pitso has done and the flag that he's flown for South Africa as well. And we're looking forward to more successes and seeing you on the world stage. From a CAF point of view, it's gratifying to see the southern region also achieving something of this nature. And I'm very excited that you speak about school sports, because I think if we look at the history of South African sports and soccer specifically, school sports was very big for us, and now we haven't seen as much participation. And the education of our coaches on the ground is really critical. So congratulations on that, and we look forward to that project growing and supporting you and seeing more of those initiatives. But President, thank you so much for this foundation and for the award you're receiving and the license that you're receiving, Coach. We look forward to you really taking football and your career to the next level. And this must be an inspiration for our coaches locally to know that South Africa is a springboard to the world and to the continent. And there's a lot of opportunity, but the work must be done, and education is very, very key. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, and good afternoon to members of the executive, CEO, Jessica, and of course the coach. Mr. President, we are here today in this house. This is a very historical house. So today, as I'm sitting here, I'm reflecting a lot. And obviously, it's a history you've been part of. A history of taking this country to the next level and leave it in the good place in the map where we are in the African continent. And symbols are very important, President. As you know, I think of the fact that, where we come from, you and I, cricket and rugby are quite big. I always tell Makai and Tini that without him, there is no Rabada. People don't believe in Rabada. But without Coach Pitso, at least in the continent, people don't believe in a coach like Ibenge and many other coaches. Because symbols give us an opportunity to breathe, to dream. And I think today is quite a very symbolic moment. And thank you, President, that we do something like this in a house like this, historical house, which has always been a fireplace in the African football, a source of both inspiration and irritation in the past, I'm sure, for in the continent. Everyone always fights you sometimes in the continent. But everywhere you go, people always mention South Africa. And I think it's because of the history of this country and the people who've been part of taking football in this country to that level. Coach Pitso, now you represent a different generation, and there is obviously another generation that is coming behind you. And that generation in you will see a symbol. And I guess this doesn't just inspire coaches, but also a number of young administrators who are coming up in the country to dream and see bigger and see further than their borders. I know that there are a number of people in my generation, for example, at the back here on the table, who will take this moment and reflect and be inspired to take the legacy forward of this country on this continent. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you very much, Coach, and congratulations, Coach Pitso. And I guess this is just the beginning. Thank you.
It is just the beginning. And then finally to you, Mem Chiklas, I think it's fitting that you should have the last word.
Thank you. Pitso Mosemane, before he became the greatest coach in Africa, he was also a great player. And we must all remember that the product of our country, going through as a youngster, then play for a top team, then go overseas and play and make a difference and make South Africa proud. So thank you, President, for this opportunity today for all of us to remember Pitso Mosemane, not only as the greatest coach, but also as a great player as well. I had the privilege to fly with him the first time overseas together, and today I feel as a proud mother, and we're all very, very proud to see that a player become a coach, and he's South Africa. So over and above the opportunity came in his life, he didn't forget the way forward. He didn't forget the development. He didn't forget that he has to give back, or he wants to give back, with his beautiful family, of course, together. Back to South Africa football and back to our children. I thank you for that, Pitso. Don't forget, you never forgot your roots, and you're always back here in order to develop our children. President, thank you so much for always have a vision, and through this foundation, a lot of our children are going to benefit. To our national executive members, we're always behind our president, and we're always behind of our children, that they make us proud. And Pitso Mosemane is our child, is our brother, and together we know that anything he needs, we're going to be next to him to help him. Jessica, always very proud of you. And of course, Lex, thank you. Thank you, CAF. I haven't been there for some time, but soon I'll be there, don't worry. It's just through to COVID. I thank, of course, our CEO, that he makes everything possible. And once again, I'd like to really thank God for our children, our men, our women, that they make us proud as South Africa after such a long struggle. Pitso, thank you, and congratulations. Barakalo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have inviting you to ask your questions that you